August 31st, we've got a college football game between Minnesota and Nebraska. The line's all over the place, -7 at some books, -7.5 at others. Teddy Covers is going to take apart that game, tell you when he thinks you should bet it. Stay with us all the way because that is his big game breakdown. But before that, Bryan Leonard joining us right off the bat. Bri, how are you, my friend? What's going on in your world? And let's get into some actionable info.
Yeah, excited to be first up today. I appreciate that, and hopefully I can lead us to some winners. Been really good, especially with underdogs lately. 3-0. I passed yesterday, but 3-0 the day before. All underdogs. 4-1 the day before.
Nice.
Yeah, dogs are biting, and I'm doing 2 shows today with 3 total plays, all underdogs. So hopefully I get just winners.
I like the Cincinnati Reds today. They're a short underdog. Let's get into Boston and Houston. Man, this Houston team playing for their lives right now. Had a struggle against the red-hot Seattle team, and they lost all 3 games. Now they're playing Boston. You know, Boston is doing great, man. They're on fire. They won 3 in a row against the Yankees, 8-2 in their last 10. And Boston's a dog, +105, a total here of 8.5. How do we bet this game?
Yeah, if you're looking at it just from a timing standpoint, you would probably want to play Houston coming off of that 3-game series loss. Seattle was very good to us in that series. And then Boston playing the Yankees, their big rival. But I'm not that kind of handicapper. I look at what goes on overall, and I think we've got some value here on Boston. Houston's hit lefties really well this season. They're actually 3rd in Major League Baseball in WRC+. But that said, we really feel the Red Sox have a nice pitching advantage in this one. James Paxton enters play with a 1.14 whip, 3.34 ERA. His advanced stats agree with those solid figures. He's been their best pitcher all season long for the most part, and he's been very consistent, and we like that. Christian Javier, a 1.12 whip, 4.49 ERA, but his xFIP comes in at 5.23, Sierra 4.82, so he's not really having a good year, and his advanced stats show that that's legitimate. If you take a look at his home ERA on the season, it's 3.19, but his xFIP in this building is 5.06, so he's been a little lucky here. I simply don't trust Javier in this price range. I know Houston had the team meeting and all, and Boston's off of the Yankees, but Houston is not playing well right now, and as you mentioned, the Red Sox are. I'll take the Red Sox with a nice underdog price here.
So Houston, 15 games over 500 for the season, and yet if you bet them every game right now, you're basically even for the entirety of 23. Do you think the Astros are going to be a fade down the stretch? Is this a team that's not going to make the postseason? This is a team that, last year was last year, and it's a whole new season for Houston? Or is the experience of winning a title last year give them an edge down the stretch?
Yeah, I'm never going to say anything bad about the Astros. They've done what they've had to do over the years, whether it's the cheating scandal or anything. This is a team who has a lot of veteran leadership. They've had some guys that quality veterans haven't even made the majors this year because of injuries. This is a team for Houston. I don't like to bet against them when they got their backs to the wall. I give them a lot of credit. Texas is a team right now that's fading. They faded last against Milwaukee in this last series, and luckily we were on the Brewers there. So been a lot of nice underdogs, but I'm not writing Houston off. Houston's going to be there. It all comes down to the end, but that veteran leadership's going to show for them.
Yeah, I agree with you. Bryan Leonard joining us, everyone. Exclusive handicapper at WagerTalk Today. And if you like what Bryan is saying, if you like this show, if you like all the shows on our channel, please hit that thumbs up button. Please give us a like. Please subscribe to our channel. Please tell your friends. Really important. And make sure to comment. Do you agree or disagree with Bryan? Big series between Boston and Houston. What do you guys think? Bryan's also going to talk about Cincinnati and the Angels, and I already mentioned that I like Cincinnati today. Marco D'Angelo is joining us after that. He's going to look at that red-hot Seattle team as they take on the White Sox. Also, Texas at Arizona. Teddy's big game breakdown segment where he's going to look at that Minnesota-Nebraska game. We've got a great betting strategy question for you guys, and then Tokyo Brandon joining us with another couple of baseball bets. Brian, let's get into the Cincinnati team. Just came off a series with the Blue Jays, did lose their last 2 games, and this is a team that was red hot a month ago. People were talking about them winning the division. I know people, as do you, that made bets that Cincinnati would win the division. And since then, they really have been struggling, and especially struggling to score. I told everybody the day the Angels did not trade Ohtani, I told everybody, God loves irony. This team is going into the shitter, and they have. Where do we go in this game?
Yeah, these are 2 teams that have been making some pretty good money fading as of late, and it's worked out pretty well in that regard. Cincinnati is getting their pitchers back. Their weaknesses are starting pitching. They got one back yesterday. He did not pitch well. And they're getting another one back in the next week or so. So Cincinnati, I think, will start playing a little bit better ball. Graham Ashcraft, he's in the 87th percentile in fastball velocity, 79th in barrel rate. He's pitched a lot better now than he did earlier in the season. I was really surprised they kept him in the rotation as long as they did, because he really struggled. And he's still a young pitcher. He's not going to be perfect every time out, but he's pitched a lot better as of late than he did earlier this season. So he's a guy, if you're taking a look at season-to-date numbers, you've got to throw them out the window a little bit. Lucas Giolito, complete bust since he's come to the Angels at the trade deadline. His barrel percentage on the season is a whopping 10.4. This is not a good stadium for him if he gives up a lot of fly balls. A lot of home runs are hit in the stadium. His home ERA, 2.62. Road ERA is 6.14. He's pitched 2 different ballparks this season for his home. That tells you there's something wrong there. There's going to be some regression. Obviously, he should be getting a little bit better on the road, and at home he's going to struggle. That discrepancy that wide should not exist, a 4-run or 3.5-run differential. So we're looking for more chances to go against Giolito. The Reds are a young team who entered the year with no expectations. They did get hot. They bought in, I think, a little bit to their hype a little bit with all the younger players. They brought Marte up, another young player. He's playing third base for them now. They've got a lot of talent on this Reds team, and every time they bring in another young player, it's another reason for me to want to play them. The Angels have just been the opposite this year. The organization continuously disappoints and has wasted years of superstar players.
Yep.
LA's playing out the string right now. You hit it right on the head. I did not like what they did there in the break there right before the trade deadline. Brought in some guys that I didn't think was going to help them. And now they're bringing up some guys in the minors that have played only 50, 60 games. So the Angels are looking to the future. Cincinnati's still alive for the present. I'll take the Reds here as a nice underdog.
I want to talk about Giolito for a minute because he's only pitched 1 start at Angel Stadium, and it was a gem. He gave up 3 hits in 6 innings. They got the win against San Fran. He went on the road and pitched at Toronto. Good lineup. On the road, pitched at Atlanta. Good lineup. On the road, pitched at Texas. Good lineup. The one good start that he's had came at home against a San Fran lineup that one could compare in theory to Cincinnati's lineup. You talked about the home road splits and that the fact that he wasn't that good at home, but my numbers show that he's just fine pitching in LA. The 1 start he's had has been a good one. Any thoughts there, Brian?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. His home ERAs, based on both places he's played in, he's been great. The road ERAs has been where he's struggled. It's just a situation for me that you don't see the discrepancies. As I mentioned, his home ERA 2.62, road ERA 6.14. That's not the way it is. It's not that much difference between pitching at home and pitching on the road. I always look for regression in that regard. If a guy's terrible on the road, everybody sees his road numbers. They want nothing to do with him. But in the long run, if you look at these guys for their entire careers, most of the time everybody pitches better at home. They're familiar with it, but not to this extent where you've got a 3.5-run ERA differential. So I think there's some regression there for Giolito. Small sample size, obviously, with the 1 start. But, I don't want any part of Giolito in this one.
Bryan Leonard, everybody. Brian is on a 7-1 baseball run. He calls dogs. He likes dogs. And hey, who am I to judge? Brian, what do you have to promote?
I'm a cat owner, but I love dogs when it comes to sports.
How
One
many
play
cats?
out today. Just the one. Just the one. He makes enough noise for the rest of them, so I only
Teddy,
have the one.
Teddy, don't you have a cat as well?
I do. I have a cat and 2 dogs.
I don't understand this cat thing, but okay, again, who am I to judge? Brian,
Hey, I have
sorry.
And a wife wants a cat. You tend to have a
I
cat.
understand. I'm allergic to cats. I actually had to leave Teddy's house last meet and greet. I couldn't go inside. After like 10 minutes, my eyes started pouring. Yeah, I know, Teddy. You borrowed your neighbor's cat to get me out of your house.
Worked like a charm.
Yeah,
Hey, he's never
baby.
been over to my house either, so there you go. That's the only reason you haven't been invited, Prez.
Okay, fill us in, brother. What do you got to promote?
One play today. It's $9 Monday. It's a 3% play. We've got that up there. And as I mentioned, 7-1 over the weekend on our plays. And I think 5 or 6 out of the 8 were all underdog plays. Underdogs have been tremendous, as what shows there. 58 net units of profit, our last 55 underdog plays. Basically, you're getting 1% advantage on every play we have. It's been a nice run. Been a moneymaker for clients. So let's keep that going.
Unbelievable stuff. Bryan Leonard, everyone, as good as it gets in baseball and really, really good in college football too, which is right around the corner. Teddy Covers, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I'm curious, what did you learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
Well, we learned that the hurricane in Vegas is the biggest bust since Anna Nicole Smith. Hasn't been much of a hurricane here. But
Dumb.
that being said, you guys been waiting for this all summer. It's time for a little bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. A recap of what just happened this past weekend in betting action. And let's start Thursday night, the Browns and the Eagles. Lots of Philly money. I still don't know why all the money came for Philly in that game. I really don't. -1 up to -3.5, -4. The game ends up tied, 18-18. Books got to keep all of that Eagles money. We'll call that a bad bet on this show. Now it's a tie game. Total lands right on 36, the closing number. That's not a good result for the house at all. Total was as high as 39, got bet down hard. All that money cashed. Got as low as 35.5. We saw some buyback. That money cashed. Over bettors were able to have winning tickets. So the books lost both sides and won basically no bets on this total. We call that bad for the books on this show. And then Friday, Giants absolutely annihilate the Panthers, up 21-3 at halftime, completely one-sided affair. First drive of the second half, Giants about to put more points on the board, and they get stopped on 4th and 1 in Panthers territory. And then Carolina scores a touchdown. No biggie. Giants moving the ball again, get stopped on down in Panthers territory for a second time. And then another Panthers touchdown. And the Giants get to the Panthers territory for a third time in the half. This time, they take the delay of game penalty and punt. Panthers go 4 and out. Giants take a knee and win by 2. The line in that game, Giants -2.5 / -3 all week. We call that a bad beat on this show. Bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. There was certainly plenty of those this past weekend. How about the Bears versus the Colts? Indy from -2 all the way up to -5. Bears lead by double digits in the fourth quarter, and the Colts are punting. What happens? Bears go 3 and out, and the Sam Ellinger show begins. Quick touchdown drive for Indy. Bears 3 and out. Another quick touchdown drive for the Colts. No biggie. It's +4.5, +5 all week. The Bears 1 first down, and they fumble. Bears defense gets the stop, which forces the field goal, and now they're down by 7. Bears drive to the Colts 21, run out of time. That was bad beat for whoever had Chicago. And it wasn't a great result for the house either. Indy able to cash all that money. That one was bad for the books. What else is a bad beat? How about when your winner turns into a push? The Packers total 37 / 37.5 all week. They get to 38 by the end of the third quarter. It's a right side winner. Packers driving for more. But then an injury to the Pats cornerback Bolden. 10:29 left in the fourth. The game gets canceled. You have to go 55 minutes for action. Your right side winner is now a push. Kiss your sister, get your money back. Yeah, that's kind of a bad beat. They didn't get to 55 minutes in that ball game. Buffalo +3 to -1 against Pittsburgh. The Bills got annihilated. It was 27-0 before fourth stringer touchdowns. The Bills money. Bad bet city. Total in that ball game. Legit middle. Opened 40, got as high as 43, closed 42, landed on 42. Nobody lost. Everybody won or pushed. That total was bad for the books. Look at the Jets. Jets were +1 in a couple of books at the open. They closed -3.5. The Bucks offense didn't work. They only got to 13, but that was enough. The Jets went 0 for 3 in the red zone. They were -3 turnovers. They lost 13-6. I'll call that bad bet more than bad beat. It was my only loser this weekend. 67% so far this NFL preseason. One more bad bet to note, the Broncos, a dog early in the week. They closed -3.5. Trey Lance ate them up in the fourth quarter. Late field goal for San Fran to win, but the books didn't need it. Most of the Broncos' money had already lost. And one more bad for the books. The Raiders bet up -3 to -4.5 against the Rams. Nobody bet LA. 34-17 Raiders. O'Connell, the second coming here in Vegas right now. Once again, he had a strong preseason showing. Aiden O'Connell, the rookie out of Purdue, making some headlines here in Sin City. There you have it. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. Get ready for that every Monday, all football season, right here on WagerTalk Today. Lawrence?
Kick ass segment, Teddy. Guys, it's $9 Mondays, and our next guest, the co-founder of WagerTalk, likely against his will. I had to pull his arm. He's 8-2 his last 5 Mondays, and he's just kicking ass across the board. Marco D'Angelo joining us. Marco, how are you today?
Good, Prez. Preseason's been good to us as well. We're 4-0 on the season.
Nice.
Preseason, all small plays. We've had all 2% plays, 1 3% play, but better than being the other way. So it's a good momentum heading into the season.
Yes, sir. Marco, let's get straight into it. The red-hot Seattle Mariners, winners of 3 in a row in Houston. Outstanding performance by them. They're playing the White Sox tonight. Seattle is -200. The total here is 8.5. For me, I looked at this game and I'm worried about Seattle. And I'm curious, inside of your handicap, I know you like these it's a bad spot type of scenarios. If there's ever a bad spot in baseball, it's got to be today for Seattle after that big win against Houston. I don't know if you even take that stuff into account in baseball, so I'm curious, who do you like in this game? And do you think there are bad spots in baseball as opposed to other sports, given that, every day is a new pitcher?
No, absolutely. There are bad spots, and you are correct. And normally I would be looking and saying, hey, after going in and sweeping the world champion Astros, this would be a down spot. But here's the thing. Seattle's playing the best baseball of anybody right now. This is a team that's won 6 in a row. Their last 45 games, they're 32-13. That weekend sweep of the Astros and Texas getting swept at home as well has not only put Seattle back in the race for the wild card, they're only 3 games out from the AL West. So this is a team that's playing well, was on a lot of people's radar after the way they finished the second half of the season last year to make the playoffs. So normally, I would look to jump in front of them for a letdown, but this is a team with all the momentum in the world. And I'm looking at this one, and I'm going to go first 5-inning wager. Why? Because I think we've got a big discrepancy in starting pitchers. We got Castillo going for Seattle. He's allowed 3 runs or less in 13 of his last 16 starts. The White Sox are going to send Touki Toussaint to the mound. I crack up every time I hear this guy's name. But he's allowed 11 runs in his last 14 and a third innings. That's not good. But bigger concern, in those 3 starts, he did get 22 strikeouts. That's a plus. But when you're turning around and handing out 14 free passes by walks, that's not a good thing. You put people on base, 14 of them in 14 innings of work. That's a base runner an inning. And then you give up 4 home runs in those 3 starts. That's going to be a problem for your starting pitcher. And that's what I'm looking at here. By making it a first 5-inning wager, we take the bullpens out of the equation. So I'm going starter versus starter, which I feel is a huge edge. I'll lay the half a run because I don't want to lay the big chalk on that. will lay the half a run for first 5 innings. And here's a little stat for you on Seattle. Following a 1-run win against a division rival, they're 16-4 in their next game over the last 2 seasons. I'll go ahead and take Seattle first 5 minus a half.
So we need your help, folks. Plain and simple. We need likes, flat out. If you like the content that you're seeing, please give us a thumbs up. We need subscriptions for the WagerTalk YouTube TV channel. If you like the type of content you're getting, please subscribe so you'll know when our shows are live, when our shows are posted. And we need those comments, especially in the YouTube the comment section after the show is posted. They make all the difference. So please share your opinions. Tell us what you thought. Tell us what you thought stunk. We appreciate it, whether you like us or you don't. Marco talked about Seattle at 32-13 the last 45 games. They got 38 games left in the regular season. After a team's gone 32-13 their last 5, I got to think there's a correction coming the other way. I know they're hot right now. They just swept Houston. They're won 6 in a row. But last 38 games, you bet the Mariners, you're going to make money?
This is a team right now, Teddy, and you know it. In baseball, you don't bet to stop streaks. If there's one sport that you ride streaks, it's baseball. And until this team shows me that they cool off, I can make more money riding a team that's winning than jumping on trying to find a spot where it stops. Yeah, you're eventually going to win one bet if you bet against a hot team when it happens. But if you keep betting that hot team while they're winning, you can keep putting 3, 4, 5, who knows how long. And if you remember, last season, didn't they have a 14, 15-game winning streak right in the middle of the season around the All-Star break? I'm not fading this team. They're playing with a swagger to them right now. They got to show me, lose 3 out of 4 before I say, okay, here we go. The regression's coming.
And Margo, listen, that makes a lot of sense, especially in baseball. With that said, I got a bad feeling about them today. To me, I think there's a lot of value on the Sox, it's just one of those spots, man. This team has to come in here a little bit emotionally tired, but from a long-term perspective, I think you might be right. I think Seattle is a bet on team. Let's talk about Texas and Arizona. And Arizona, like Cincinnati, really hot team for the first half of the year. Everyone was excited about them. Then they fell apart. But now they're back winning games. They just won 3 of 4 against San Diego. This team has won 7 of their last 10. And Texas is going in the opposite direction. 4-6 in their last 10. Got swept by Milwaukee. Now we've got Texas at minus 163 on the road. I got to think there's value on Arizona, even with Montgomery on the mound. How are we betting this game?
I understand everything you're saying there, Prez, with Texas right now. Texas lost 4 in a row. 3 of those 4 games were this weekend at home to Milwaukee. Whether you like it or not, the National League Central, we make a lot of fun about that division. Milwaukee is in first place. You can't take that away from them. You talked about the winning streak on Arizona. Okay, prior to them winning 7 of their last 9 games, they lost 9 games in a row. And this 7-2 streak that they've had recently, let's look at who they played. They played 2 series against San Diego, who is one of the biggest disappointments this year, coming into the season, high expectations, and they're not playing good baseball. And then who was the other? It was Colorado, one of the worst teams in baseball. So, if you just look at the W's and L's over the last week, Arizona looks like value. But you dig deeper, the quality of competition, I'm going to look at Texas to bounce back. And when you have a bad series like they just did this weekend, I'm a firm believer in it. I like to see a winning team get out and on the road and start a road trip. Get away from home. You don't have to keep answering the same questions to the same beat reporters that ask the same question just 5 different ways. Why are you losing? Plus, look at the starting pitching in this one. Jordan Montgomery has been absolutely phenomenal. 13 of his last 14 starts, the guy has allowed 3 runs or less. He gives me a start like that, and he generally goes 6 or 7 innings. He's not one of these guys that just gives you 5 innings. So that means I only got to rely on a bullpen, for the last couple innings there. And if you look at the Texas bullpen versus the Arizona bullpen, if we go late, there's no question I want Texas's bullpen over Arizona's. I think there's value here. If this game would have been a week ago, you'd have been laying $1.90 in this game easily with Montgomery on the mound against Texas. I didn't go first 5 in this one. I went the full game because, as I said, I think our advantage is greater once we get to the later innings in this game. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Arizona, by the way, they're sending a rookie making his 3rd start. Sassoni, average starts in his first 2, went 4 innings, gave up 2 runs in both of those. The concern there was the strikeout to walk ratio. Generally, we say the pitchers have the advantage over the hitters first time through the league because you haven't seen them. Well, he only had a 6-4 strikeout to walk ratio in those 2 starts. So nothing overpowering from him. I like Texas and their bats to wake up in Arizona tonight.
Marco says, look at the Rangers to knock off the D-backs on the highway this evening. Marco, $9 Monday. Bargains galore for those who are looking for wagers this evening. What do you have available for the clients over at WagerTalk.com?
Well, we've done it the last 2 Mondays. We've had a 4% Monday massacre, and they both have been big blowout winners. We've got another one tonight. You can head over there, pick it up for $9. Anybody, $9 on Monday. It's a great way to try a new capper. If there's somebody you've been wanting to try, this is a great time to do it. Only $9. And as I always say, guys, when you watch all of our shows, if you like the way that particular handicapper breaks down his games on the shows, that's a great indicator of what you're going to get from them with their write-ups and detail of how they pick their games. That's part of the biggest part. Selecting a handicapper, you got to be comfortable with what you're doing because you're following their information.
Marco D'Angelo, everyone, co-founder of WagerTalk Media. Awesome guy and an incredible handicapper. Teddy covers. So how was your weekend, man? You had a big party at your house on Friday night. How did that go?
It was fun. We don't
There
kiss
you
and
go.
tell about a party. Yeah, we're not,
So
it's like,
kiss and tell.
Yeah.
So Teddy had all the Wager Talk and Sports Member handicappers over at his house, basically a bunch of males, and he doesn't want to kiss and tell. Okay.
so you weren't there. You have no idea what the male to female ratio was. You didn't even show up in the country.
Okay.
Uh,
So
Marco's
it was a
wife was there.
swingers party at Teddy's house on Friday night. All the Wager Talk people brought their wives. Everybody got naked and jumped in the pool. No kissing and telling from Teddy covers. Brother, your big game breakdown. Minnesota versus the Nebraskan football team. -7, -7.5. What are you doing in this game, and when should we make the bet?
Maybe right now. Because this was a split line, I don't know, about an hour ago. Right now, let's talk big game breakdown. Thursday, August 31st, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, national TV game on Fox. Nebraska and Minnesota, Big Ten showdown right off the top. Right now, we're seeing money from the Minnesota. The -7s are pretty much gone. I'm seeing -7.5. We've all seen a little bit of money for the under coming right now this morning. 46 last night. Now I'm seeing 45.5 on that Wager Talk live odds screen. In general, I prefer week 1 favorites to week 1 dogs in college football. The market slightly tilted towards dogs in week 1. Every smart guy is looking for live dogs all summer. They can win the game outright. I get it. I don't play a lot of week 1 dogs. But in this game, I sure don't want the chalk. Last 3 meetings, 20-13 Gophers last year in Lincoln. 30-23 Gophers, 2021 here in Minneapolis. 24-17, 2020 in Lincoln. The last 3 games have all been decided by exactly 7 points. All right. Gee, the line sounds about right then, eh? only if Nebraska continues to underachieve under Matt Rule like they did under Scott Frost. They played about consistently a touchdown below their power rating for the last 2 or 3 years / talent level. I'm not saying Frost was an idiot. I'm just saying it didn't work for him there. Single-digit home dog is not necessarily PJ Fleck's role. They went 0-2 straight up in that role last year. Lost at home to Purdue at -9 and to Iowa at -1. And again, we're not just asking Minnesota to win this game. We're asking them to win it by more than a touchdown in a conference game. Are they really way better this year? So I just saw their multi-year starting quarterback in the NFL preseason this past weekend. Winning by more than a touchdown this time around, maybe. Not with my money. It's too many points for an August conference game. I don't see either team winning this one by more than a TD. Give me the Huskers plus 7.5. Get that hook. But again, it's widely available right now with the money coming for Minnesota this morning. Yeah, I'll take my shot with a dog plus 7.5 on the opening night TV game of college football. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Cannot believe how close we are, Teddy. I mean, it's exciting, man. Exciting and slightly depressing because it's going to ruin my golf game and my reading. It's time for work. I spent. What are you moaning about now? What is this for?
Because you're sitting there I'm slightly disappointed. It's like, if you don't get jacked up for football season, for the start of football season after we had baseball all summer, if that adrenaline doesn't start to flow,
dude,
you shouldn't be in the business. Because it
jacks me up, bro. Look at that. I'm jacked freaking up. But you have to also take into account when you live in Toronto, what does football represent? Yes, money, fun, excitement, entertainment, and also
end of summer.
Summer is coming to an end. So I am entitled to feel, that way. With that said, I love winter. I just can't stand fall. Let's get into the BS question. And I think this is a great one and one relevant to all sports and something we all go through. Dan, put up the question. So this question was sent in by Austin Snow 5413. I'm guessing there was a lot of Austin Snows by the time he put this together. 5412 probably. So he's the 5413th Austin Snow, and he asks, if you bet Kansas City, and really you could just insert any team in any sport here. If you bet Kansas City at -7.5 on a Monday, and then Mahomes sprains his ankle, and the line goes to -2.5. Would you cash that bet out and rebet the new number or let it ride? Teddy, you take a shot and I'll give my thoughts after.
I never cash my bet out for a small guaranteed loss. He said, will you cash your bet out for a small guaranteed loss and rebet if you liked it, the new number? No, I've never done that. So
yeah.
Obviously, it's not a good scenario when you laid 7.5 and the line is now 2.5. There's no way to make that positive expectation. All right. And sometimes it's going to happen. It's inevitable. My strategy tends to be, and it does vary by sport. In the NBA, I don't care. I laid the worst of it. The star's out. Okay. It works again and again when that happens. In football, particularly with a quarterback injury, a lot of times you're screwed. So maybe the right move is to take a small guaranteed loss, but I've never done it. I let it ride with a tougher number in general when it comes to these type of scenarios. What about you, Lawrence?
I'm with you 100%, Teddy. I would never, ever cash that bet out. With that said, we got an injured quarterback and a new quarterback coming in, one that likely the team hasn't game planned for. The ideal scenario is KC gets the ball on the first drive and their one touchdown happens right then, and we can come back in game and fix that original bet. But I would never cash that bet out. And strangely, and especially in basketball, that team loses their star, Giannis, it's -7.5, but Giannis is in. Then he says he's not in. It goes down to -2.5, and that's probably when Milwaukee plays their best game of the whole year and win by 12. So I would never cash that bet out, ever. Great question. Guys, if you want to ask your betting strategy questions for Teddy and I, please put it up in the comment section after the show. We have a few more still in the can, but we are running out of questions. We'll answer the same questions over and over again as well, because you guys want to hear those answers. So please, please, please put up your question in the comment section. And Teddy, really quick, Greg Macaluso writes, wow, Prez can't stand fall. Terrible statement. And Oscar is fall is the best. Guys, firstly, I'm not talking about fall from a sporting perspective. Yeah, I love that. I'm talking about fall from a weather perspective. Fall to me is like going to a strip joint. It might look good, but there's nothing to do. That's the problem. I want to ski in the winter. I want to golf in the summer. I don't want to be just a confused individual in the middle of fall going, now what? Anyway, Tokyo Brandon joining us. Brandon, anything to add so far to our conversation?
Guys, yeah, thanks for having us over, Teddy. It was a great time. Regarding the gambling question, I never cash anything out because you're probably going to regret it later. And if you don't regret it, it's going to be half and half. You're going to come out on top half the time. You're going to come out on bottom half the time. And on the time you come out on bottom, you're going to regret cashing out. So I just let it ride and let fate take its course.
Yeah. Well, we love having you on, Tokyo.
Thanks.
One of our clients is mad at you. Are you not winning in KBO right now?
I lost my last KBO play, but before that I was on a 7-1 run, so they must have bought my last one.
Okay. Yeah. That is so indicative of our industry. It is unbelievable. Brother,
it is. You're only as good as your last play. So, hey, let's get some winners,
Yeah. Brother, yes. Teddy mentioned in Marco's segment how good Jordan Montgomery is. He's pitching tonight for Texas, and you've got a prop bet for us. Take it over, and then Teddy will regale you with follow-ups and your next game.
Yeah, I don't know how Teddy's going to be devil's advocate on this one because I got Jordan Montgomery today. A lot of what Marco said, I kind of agree with. He kind of stole a little bit of my thunder, but it's a prop play. And if you go to DraftKings, they do outs recorded props. And this is one of my favorites because outs recorded is always generally between 15 and 18 in that general range, whereas strikeouts, much harder to beat because there's less strikeouts in a game. A pitcher will generally have 5 to 8 strikeouts. So betting the over-under on a 5 to 8 is a lot less chance to win than betting an over-under on a 17. So I like the outs recorded props. And if you look at Jordan Montgomery in his last 6 starts, man, is he the model of consistency. He has recorded 18 outs, which equals 6 innings, if you do the math. He's recorded 18 outs in his last 6 straight starts. And he's also, I have a little algorithm that I use that I made. He is averaging, where was my number? He's averaging 18.7 on the season, which is unbelievable. I mean, he's been doing great. And the Diamondbacks generally allow starting pitchers to extend their average by about 0.3 outs per start. So I have Jordan Montgomery here projected to go 18.6, somewhere in there, because I judge also by how deep they go into games all season. So I have the over on this, and DraftKings put it at 17.5. 17.5, very low. I've done 55 games that the book had at 17.5, and I'm winning 61% when I project the over. So I'm going over 17.5 for Jordan Montgomery today.
Tokyo, before Teddy jumps in, I just want to make mention the graphic on the screen was wrong. It did say under 17.5. What I'm thinking is that our production team just doesn't like your over. Anyway, the play is over 17.5 outs. Interesting and creative bet, Teddy. I'll shut up.
They got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I input it right, so it's not my fault.
I went
to
to
see
check.
Lawrence was convinced that I wouldn't have seen the thing that was on the screen.
If I bet the if I had the under,
2
you would
minutes.
have lots of you would have a big comeback against me, I'm sure.
Well, here's the question: 17 and a half
Yeah.
outs. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's gone over this 12 of his last 13 starts. What kind of juice are we laying
6 in a
here? I mean, is this just a minus 110 prop here on something that's cashing every single game? Even though we only have a half an out's worth of edge, it's a big half out, isn't it?
When I put it out, I believe it was minus 140, which is a little bit of juice, but it's definitely palatable. Let me reconfirm that, but yeah, it was minus 150 when I put it out, which is not terrible. But given the fact that he's done it 6 games in a row and he's done it his last 12 out of 13, I think minus 150 is generous. This should be like a minus 210 or a minus 180 in that range. So I'm very happy to take a minus 150 here. Yeah.
Yeah, Tokyo Brandon joining us. Teddy, set up the next game, baby. Oakland, Kansas City. I want to hear your thoughts too.
Oakland, Kansas City. If ever there was a game that no one wants to bet in MLB, it is this one. Right now, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, there is a favorite, and that favorite is the Oakland A's. Minus 130, total 8.5, a little bit of juice to the under. Blackburn versus Davidson. What do we do with the A's and the Royals? Whichever side you're recommending here, this is a hold your nose and bet it, isn't it?
Well, it's a close your eyes bet. I don't know if it's a hold your nose bet, but you might not want to watch the game, but you certainly want to bet it, because the Oakland A's, although they are not very good, they are one of the best first 5 inning teams in Major League Baseball. Unfortunately, for those who hate the Oakland A's, they're a really good first 5, and the reason is because their rotation's actually not that bad. They got Blackburn, they've got Sears, they've got some starting pitchers. You know, their top 4 starting rotation guys are pretty average in the MLB, and average is good enough to win some first 5 games for you. Their lineup is not great, but Kansas City's lineup is awful. I put the lineups pretty much just as equally stinky here, but I really like Oakland's starting pitcher today, Blackburn. I realize his WHIP is 1.5, which is pretty bad, but if you look at his last starts, if you take out the clunker he had against the Nationals, I mean, he's given up 0 earned runs in 7, 0 earned runs in 6. He gave up 2 earned runs in 6 to Colorado, and then he only gave up 1 earned run in 5.1 innings to Houston. I mean, he's only given up 4 earned runs in his last 3 starts if you take out the Washington start, which he got hammered. So he's actually a decent starting pitcher. Much better than Tucker Davidson, who he's going against today in Kansas City. Now, he's a relief pitcher. He's never gone past the 2nd inning. I don't know if he's gotten into the second. Yeah, he's gotten into the 2nd inning. He's never gotten out of it. And when you're a relief pitcher who pitches 1 inning at a time and your WHIP is 1.68, that's not good. That's good enough. That's bad enough to let a lineup like Oakland get some hits, get some runs. Blackburn is decent. I like the first 5 here. We're going with Oakland first 5.
A's first 5, worthy of some chalk, says Tokyo Brandon. Brandon Siefkin. Brandon, talk about what you have going $9 Mondays over at WagerTalk.com.
I have a 4% Major League play out right now that you can get for $9. It's normally $25, so it's decent value. And I have $9 Asian baseball plays every day. So go to my site and see what's available. Tokyo Brandon at WagerTalk.com.
What a show! Tokyo Brandon, everybody. Bryan Leonard, Marco D'Angelo, outstanding stuff. We'll be with you all week, Monday to Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern. We're 5 away from 100 likes. Greatly appreciated, guys. We're also seeing the watching now, the live viewership go up as we approach the football season. Pleasure to do this show with you every day. And with you, Teddy Covers. We got a great one tomorrow. Please take us home.
Sure. Just a heads up, there will be no opening line report today. Why? The lines aren't even up yet for NFL Week 3 of the preseason. Drew Martin and myself will do it tomorrow, Tuesday, 10 a.m. here on the left coast, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We'll do opening line report tomorrow, not today. That's going to wrap up the Monday edition of Wager Talk Today. We'll do that again tomorrow as well, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, take advantage of $9 Mondays. Enjoy the games, and best of luck with all your wagers.